Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all well. This week I'd like to talk about divorce. I know it isn't a happy subject, but it's one worth discussing, just in case it ever happens to you.
Richard's the higher earner, around 160,000. Claire earns 30,000. They were sensible about it, good solicitors. A financial settlement that felt fair to both of them. Richard kept his pension. Claire got a larger share of the house and the investment portfolio to compensate. Everyone moved on. About a year later, Claire thought it was all behind her. Then she discovered it wasn't, because she found something else out which made her question whether the settlement had been fair at all. This video is about the financial mechanics of divorce that almost nobody explains properly. Not the legal process, and definitely not legal advice. It's the questions that, if nobody asks them, tend to surface 2 or 3 years later as, "I wish someone had told me that." I'll come back to what Claire found out, but first, the number that started it all. There's a number used to value pensions in divorce settlements, and for one type of pension, that number can be wrong by an enormous margin. Not slightly off, sometimes hundreds of thousands of pounds off. I've seen a pension valued at £400,000 for this purpose, when a proper independent valuation put it closer to 600,000. Same pension, same person. A £200,000 gap. I'm Mark, and let's work through this together. We will start with the number that caught Claire out. So let's start with how that £200,000 gap actually happens. Because understanding it changes how you approach the whole process. When a marriage ends, there are really 3 ways a pension gets dealt with. A pension sharing order, splitting the pension at the point of divorce, your ex-spouse receives their own separate pot. An attachment order, rarer now, where your ex-spouse receives a slice of your pension income or lump sum when you eventually take it, but it stays your pension. Or offsetting, the most common outcome. One person keeps the pension in full, and the other gets a larger share of the other assets, usually the house, to compensate. Offsetting feels simple. Nobody has to split a pension administratively. The problem is the number used to do the offsetting. Pensions are usually valued using something called a cash equivalent transfer value, the CETV. For a defined contribution pension, the CETV is reasonably close to reality. But for a defined benefit pension, a final salary scheme, the CETV can dramatically understate what that pension is actually going to pay out over a lifetime. Richard had a defined benefit pension from his first 15 years of employment. The CETV said £400,000. An actuary's valuation put it at closer to 600,000. Claire's solicitor used the CETV. Nobody suggested getting it independently valued. Claire got the house. Richard kept a pension worth £200,000 more than anyone at the table knew. The fix isn't complicated. Get the pension properly valued by an actuary before agreeing to offset against it. It costs a few £100s. As we've already seen, the numbers it can move are measured in hundreds of thousands. The second area that catches people out is capital gains tax on the assets you're dividing between you. While you're married, you can transfer assets between each other completely free of capital gains tax. It's treated as a no-gain, no-loss transfer. The moment you separate, that protection starts running on a clock. Since April 2023, separating couples have up to 3 years from the end of the tax year in which they separated to make those transfers. And if the transfer happens as part of a formal court order, that protection can extend with no time limit at all. Claire's settlement included the investment portfolio, shares and funds they'd built up together over 15 years. The separation was agreed in principle quickly, but the formal consent order took nearly 2 years to finalize. By the time the portfolio was actually transferred into Claire's name, they were approaching the end of the 3-year window. Nobody had mentioned it. The portfolio had gains embedded in it. A transfer that should have been completely tax-free almost wasn't. Caught at the last moment, only because Claire's accountant spotted it. There's also the family home. Normally, if you move out of a property, you only get full private residence relief, the relief that makes your main home CGT-free for 9 months after you leave. But for separating couples, the spouse who's moved out can elect to treat the home as still being their main residence right up until it's transferred or sold. If that election isn't made and the process drags on, the person who moved out first could end up with a CGT bill on a home they haven't lived in for years. 2 potentially large CGT bills, both avoidable with awareness, both entirely invisible unless someone in the room is specifically looking for them. The third area is more subtle. It's about what changes the day after the divorce is finalized. Income splitting between spouses is one of the most effective tools available to higher-earning households, using a lower-rate partner's allowances for jointly held investments. The day you divorce, that's gone. Whatever you keep is taxed entirely against your own income at your own rate. Marriage allowance disappears too. And then there's child benefit. The high-income child benefit charge is based on the higher earner in the household. After a divorce, there's only one household, or 2, each with one parent. If the parent who now claims child benefit has income below $60,000, a charge that applied because of their ex-spouse's income might simply no longer apply. This was what Claire found out a year after the settlement. She is the resident parent for their 2 children. Her income is £30,000. She is fully entitled to claim child benefit in full. She hadn't been claiming it for years, because when Richard's income first crossed the threshold, they stopped. After the divorce, the rule that stopped them no longer existed. Nobody told her. She'd been leaving money on the table for 12 months simply because the old household rule still lived in her head. Child benefit for 2 children at current rates is worth over £2,000 a year. Claire missed a year of it. It's now in payment, but 12 months was gone, and nobody had told her to ask. None of this is really about divorce law. It's about the fact that your financial life, up to this point, has been built as a unit. 2 incomes, 2 allowances, assets positioned to use both of them efficiently. Divorce doesn't just divide the assets, it dismantles the structure those assets were sitting in. And the tax system doesn't pause to let you rebuild that structure before it starts applying the new rules. The couples who come out of this in the strongest position aren't the ones who fought hardest over the house. They're the ones who, at some point in the process, sat down with an accountant or a financial planner and asked, given how this is being divided, what does our tax position actually look like from the day after? If you're in this position, 3 things worth doing. First, if a defined benefit pension is part of the discussion, get it properly valued by an actuary before anyone agrees to offset against it. The CETV is a starting point, not the answer. Second, if assets are being transferred between you as part of the settlement, understand the 3-year window for no gain, no loss transfers, and whether the transfer is happening under a court order that extends it. Third, once everything's settled, recalculate your adjusted net income on your own. Check whether child benefit is something you're now entitled to, and while you're at it, check your pension's expression of wishes form. If you've just been through a divorce, there's a good chance it's still pointing at your ex-spouse. I hope you found our chat useful today. If you've got a question or there's something you'd like me to cover in a future video, leave a comment below. I'll do my best to help. If you found this useful, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. In the next video, a completely different financial moment. What to do when money arrives all at once, through inheritance. The decisions you make in the first few months matter more than almost any other moment in your financial life, and almost nobody walks you through them. Until next time, take care.